welcome to Soul Speak. I am Rachel. I am so happy to be here as usual. I got a new mic. I like a buttery sound. It's comforting, and hopefully it comes across as buttery as it sounds to me. Yes. Today I'll be talking about a Black woman, myself, recovering from bulimia. So this topic is now coming out for me in more detail because I gotta say, honestly, I am sick of what I'm not finding on either Google or YouTube. I am Black. I am a woman. And I am recovering from bulimia. Yes, these three things are not exclusively mutual, but they might as well be. So yes, back to why it is that I am talking about this subject. Number one, it's something I find that I need help in. It's something that I struggle with. And I'm not finding the type of information that I particularly need about it. So I'm putting my foot down. I am talking about it. I am putting it out there on the airwaves so that I too can receive the help that I need in this area. Being a pioneer is not easy. I'm already a firstborn. I know what that's like. It's lonely. It can be freeing, but I know I am going to have to do a lot of legwork when it comes to finding out the answers that I need. And I will delve a little into that later. So as I was doing the research for this subject, I was blown away, and I wasn't really expecting to be blown away. I was just, looking for information. And according to the National Eating Disorder Association, Black girls are 50% more likely to be bulimic than white girls. I would have had no idea because I too have fallen victim to what looks to be real out there, but not necessarily. Usually there's the narrative of rich white girls being bulimic. That is not necessarily the case. What I am finding is that girls, let me say, of color and who are of the lower socioeconomic ladder are less likely to be asked by doctors about their eating disorders, or even if they are showing behaviors of that. And there's also the behavior, I would say for me, I didn't go to the doctor a lot when I was younger. I grew up with my grandparents a portion of my life. I also grew up in foster care too. That's another portion. But growing up with my grandparents, I didn't go to the doctor. It was actually avoided for me, I would say. I remember my grandmother going to the doctor. I also remember my aunt going to the doctor too. I grew up with her as well. My grandfather didn't go to the doctor, and my grandmother didn't take me to the doctor. And I would say I didn't have insurance. So, yeah, I didn't go to the doctor like that. So, getting treatment for an eating disorder, you might as well have been talking to me in Chinese, because I didn't even know you can tell a doctor about having an eating disorder. And doctors are 40% of doctors will ask a white woman, 44% actually, according again to the National Eating Disorders Association, will ask a white woman about her eating disordered behaviors and see that they need help. For Hispanics, the number, of course, decreases to 41%. And for Black women, that number is 17%. So even if, say, a Black girl goes to a doctor, she doesn't get asked, she doesn't know that she can talk to a doctor about eating disorders. If she's even gone through all those hoops, only 17% of doctors would even see her behavior as needing help. Yeah. And this is what institutionalized relationships, institutionalized racial situations do. This is what the issue is, because the population of the suppressed, the point of view is skewed and not seen at all. And how could the point of view of another be heard if these doctors are predominantly in another culture and, most likely white? So institutionalized racism is more than being malicious and keeping people of color out. But once people of color are left out and it becomes a pattern, then that point of view becomes obliterated and it's not even recognized that it's not being seen, basically. So, yeah. And that's really hurtful as a Black woman looking at those numbers, knowing that I could have been helped, but because of a lack of empathy for me, straight up because of my skin color, help would not be on the way for me. So, and based on just race alone, people of color are under high stressors just due to acculturation. So it makes sense that Black women or Black people and Hispanics would have a higher rate of an eating disorder. So moving right along, and that being disappointing, the only thing I could think of now is my story, of course. I became full-blown bulimic when I was 25 years old. Although I was made to struggle with food since I was 9. And the reason I say was made is because my foster mother used to make comments that I shouldn't be eating too much. So where I'd be before, I was thinking, I wanted to be full. I got cued into that wasn't enough. So now, by the time I was 12 years old, my grandparents had started commenting on my weight, which made me uncomfortable. And I would be uncomfortable to eat around them because I would be made fun of. And as a teenager, I recognized that the girls who were slimmer got more of the attention. And I wanted attention too, male attention. So I started eating once a day, which is, I started starving myself around the age of, I would say, 15 or 16. And of course, I'm getting positive reinforcement, or what looks like positive reinforcement to me. So I yo-yoed because eating once a day is hardly something sustainable. And at 25, after going through a breakup, is when I went full-blown bulimic. And I have to say that there's pressures from my family. There had been pressures from my family for me to be slimmer. There are pressures from society and a narrative that you're more attractive, more happy, and more seen when you're slim. So it's something that is prevalent in magazines, on TV, where actresses are concerned. Not only was I not seeing a lot of Black people, I wasn't seeing a lot of big people either, which is why Queen Latifah was such a big icon for me, because she was someone who was not skinny that I was seeing on TV. You know, people like Monique also. I also remember this show called Thea. I was glad to see the big women on TV, though they were available in scarcity. Those are the messages that I was receiving, that my size was not okay because I wasn't seeing a lot of me around. So there is a societal message there as well. But coupled with a teenager who was already experiencing abuse in the household, I didn't have a lot of stability, positive reinforcement, or love and affection and appreciation and celebration of me. So the eating disorder was an amalgamation of all of those things and probably more. So the answer, in my opinion, is to continue speaking. I need to hear more voices, just like mine is out there. I need to hear that there are women who are struggling. Not that I want people to be struggling, but those who are, help me not to feel alone and are able to give me some type of pointers. You know, what did they do? Are they even doing anything? And just the connection on a like subject or a like struggle is already providing relief. And there are groups that can be joined. Like I started going to OA in, I believe, the end of 2019. So OA is Overeaters Anonymous. I have also more recently been going to Eating Disorders Anonymous. And there are people of color sections as well. So I do think whenever we're going through issues, there are different lenses that are more important to whoever the individual is. So an eating disorder program to me is definitely more attractive if I see more people like me. And that goes for everyone, because there's also not a lot discussed about men who have eating disorders. I didn't even think that was possible until I went into Overeaters Anonymous. So all these points of views that are really not being looked at, and people desperately need help and need not to feel alone. And the other thing I would say is, if, say, you have an issue, say, we'll just talk about eating disorders since we're there anyway. If you desire to become a nutrition and you've experienced problems within yourself with eating disorders, specialize in the area in which you have difficulties. You are helping droves of people that you wouldn't even, you couldn't even imagine. So I'm saying all of that to say is, I'm sure the statistics are changing where doctors are concerned, but we need more Black doctors, people of color doctors who can understand what it is like to be in our community and empathize so that we don't look like we can sustain more pain than another group of people. And also, a lot of Black people are also a part of, well, let me just say, have been indoctrinated as well. So there needs to be an education on how we've been indoctrinated and how we can get out of that so that everyone can get the type of help that they need. So that was a rant. And again, I am talking about this because I myself need help. I need recovery information. I have issues as far as having gained weight after having an eating disorder. I have questions. What do I do with the weight that I've gained? Is there a healthier way for me to lose weight? Or am I doing the right thing by eating when I am hungry, stopping when I am moderately full, and eventually the weight will drop off? I am working out. I do have body image issues, as I'm sure many do, because there's so much pressure on especially women and women of color to uphold a beauty standard that is damn near impossible. Women are getting surgeries to uphold this standard. I myself refuse to do so, but I need the help to understand all of where this comes from so that I can be loosed of the prison that I've been in, to understand that being loved and valued is not connected to my size. And yes, I know this logically, but I also need to understand this within my heart because I've been indoctrinated a certain way. But how do we talk about these deep issues, or how is help found when these issues are not really talked about? So that is my angst today about body image, recovering in bulimia, societal norms, is that we need to talk more about our weaknesses. We present what we think are the best of ourselves to others. We do it on the streets, we do it on social media, and in fact, who is that helping? Who is that helping? So yes, I would love to hear stories. I would love to hear about how Others have helped themselves, have found help. And I hope to also encourage others to speak up because ain't nobody helped by being silenced or silent. I have been Rachel. Thank you for listening to my rant on Soul Speak. You can find this podcast on iTunes, on Spotify, on Anchor, on YouTube. You can find Soul Speak on Instagram, soulspeak_podcast. And you can find my own personal page on Instagram at The Sassy Rachel. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your ears. And thank you for your interaction. Until next time, have a blessed and wonderful day. Bye.